Welcome to Real World AIP. I'm Stacey, and today I have a reintro recipe for you. So if you're on strict elimination phase AIP, there's going to be a few things in this that you're going to want to cut out. So the reintros that will be in this taco bowl recipe, or actually it's a taco beef scramble, and then you can use it to make a taco bowl, which is my favorite dinner that I eat a lot lately. So the only two reintros are going to be coriander seed, and then that's ground, and then cumin seed, ground cumin. This is the magic ingredient in taco seasoning. Now, for many of us, we're never going to be able to reintroduce nightshades. I know for me, they cause extreme inflammation. I'm not touching any taco seasoning packets or Mexican seasonings. They all have nightshades in them. You'd be really surprised at how taco-y, Mexican-y your food will taste with just the addition of some cumin. This is probably my very favorite reintro of all the reintros. Like, this is the one that, oh, I don't want to live without. It makes taco flavor. So yeah, we're going to be using cumin seed and coriander. Everything else is AIP compliant. If you want to make this and you're still on elimination phase, just skip the cumin and coriander. Throw in a little extra garlic and like extra oregano and cilantro herb, fresh herb. I mean, it's still going to be really good, but this takes it up a whole other notch. All right, so to start, I'm going to be using 4 pounds. This is a batch cook. You could scale this down, but I'm in it for the I'm just cooking for the month right now. So I'm going to use 4 pounds of grass-fed ground beef. Doesn't really matter how lean it is, because we can pour off the extra fat if you want, or don't, because it's grass-fed. By the way, if you like my t-shirt, you can get one. I'll put the link below. Don't try to feed me. It comes in handy in social situations. I think it says it all. First thing we're going to do is get this ground beef. Well, first thing I'm going to do actually is chop up some fresh garlic and cilantro. So I have like 7 ginormous cloves, like 2 cloves a pound pretty much, because these are big ones, so it's almost like 8 cloves. It's like 2 cloves per pound of beef. And then instead of the cilantro leaves, so I got a whole big bunch of fresh cilantro, right? I'm just using the stems because these are going to blend right in. It's going to give it that nice cilantro taste. And they're not gonna taste stemmy when you're cooking it with the ground beef. I don't like to throw anything away. The leaves, I'm sticking in the freezer. Just like a freezer bag, because you can sprinkle these onto things while you're cooking, right before you eat them. They melt immediately, so I like to have both. But yeah, these stems aren't going to waste. So I'm gonna chop up the stems and the garlic. I already have some extra thin sliced onion that I'm gonna be throwing in there. Yeah, let's get started. Alright, I got my big old skillet out. This is the big one. See, it's like bigger than my hand. And I have kind of big hands for a girl. So I have 4 pounds of ground beef. I'll throw that in there. Beautiful. Just get that going on medium until it starts to brown. And I usually start breaking it up with a knife just because I don't want to use the same utensil now when it's all raw, and then later when it starts to cook, I feel like there's still germs on it. I don't know if that's me being OCD or what, but I tend to start off with a knife, and then maybe when it's like mostly cooked, I'll switch to a spatula, or maybe I'll just use a fork or something, because I don't know, I don't get too hung up about using proper utensils. So I do want to add the salt at this point. Usually do about a teaspoon per pound, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that in. And I actually like to cover my beef when it's in this stage, because I find it cooks a little faster. Thanks. I stepped away for a minute to do a few things, and oh yeah, this is cooking. See how the top got brown too? Just gonna break that up. Oh, it's beautiful. It's at this point that I want to switch utensils and use my spatula. But first, I'm actually just gonna drain all of this liquid / fat out of there, and then I'm gonna start adding some more fun things. All drained. Okay, so at this point, I want to add those 7 large cloves of garlic. And all the stems from a bunch of cilantro. It's about a 1/4 cup, heaping 1/4 cup, maybe even a 1/2 cup. I'm gonna throw in a generous amount of onion. Let's go with 1 cup thin sliced. I'm gonna use red wine vinegar. You can use lime juice too. Oops, not the cap. I'm gonna go with like 1.5 tablespoons of that. And then for our flavor, for the dried cumin, this is the Reintro. I'm gonna add a teaspoon per pound of meat. 1, 2, 3, 4. The coriander seed, I add 1/2 teaspoon per pound of meat, so we'll go 2 teaspoons total. Heaping is fine. Oregano, oh please, I don't even measure that. I literally am like, woo, boy, okay. Let's go like 3 to 4 tablespoons of dry oregano. Dried cilantro is optional, honestly. We have a bunch of fresh in there. Why the heck not, right? We'll go 1.5 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna put a little bit of dried thyme. We don't want to get crazy with the dried thyme. This is about 1 teaspoon, and I'm just gonna break it up. Okay, now it smells like tacos in here. Just get that all mixed in. This would be absolutely fabulous paired with my queso sauce. I will put a link to the queso sauce below. These two were a match made in heaven. We make some plantain tortillas. Put a link to that below too. Could have taco night. Here's an optional ingredient that's really gonna make this like insanely freaking good. Now personally, I always keep large quantities of my new tomato sauce. That one is in my cookbook, and it's also a Patreon exclusive. So there's links below to both the cookbook and my Patreon account. But either way, I do like this a little better than the no tomato or the no tomato marinara. It's no cook, and it's just, oh, it's good. I always have a bunch of it in my freezer. And this is the one that was in the fridge. As soon as I use this up, I'll literally pull one of these out to thaw. I cannot live without this. I put it on pretty much everything. This is so good in a burger scramble. So I'm just gonna take whatever I had in the fridge. This is about 1/2 cup of new tomato sauce. I would go up to a full cup. I'm gonna put that in there and mix it in. Now this is optional, and you can use any kind of, no tomato marinara, or you can skip this and it's still gonna be good. But this is just like, oh my goodness. If you have it, throw it in there. I wish I had a little more thought out, honestly, but any amount that you can put in there is gonna be good. It really adds an authenticity to this. And once you get that mixed in, you're pretty much done. You're good to go. Now, because I used 4 pounds of ground beef, I'm going to portion this out into 16 mason jars. I'm going to use these little 8-ounce size ones. And if you like a heartier portion, you could do like 12 or 14 of them. But you can get 16 servings out of this. Averaging 4 ounces of meat per serving. And then as far as serving suggestions go, let's talk about that. Just turn up the heat, let this cool a little bit, and I'm just going to portion it out into my mason jars. Pop them in the fridge for a few hours and then freeze them. This stuff makes incredible taco bowls. So what I like to do when I come home from work, I get my biggest mixing bowl. I fill this to the top with shredded romaine and radicchio. I love radicchio. You could put dandelion greens, you could use baby kale, you could just do romaine. It doesn't really matter. I just try to, get more leafy greens, more variety. Fill that up, and then I usually put some sliced cucumber, a little sliced zucchini, some thin sliced red onion. What else do I put in there? Oh, sliced green apple or strawberry or some kind of, something sweet. And then I put a bunch of balsamic vinegar and olive oil. And I eat the salad in salt. Salt. I eat the salad just like that. It's so delicious. It's so good. Oh, sliced papaya is really good in there. It tastes like tomato. Papaya is not very sweet. It's not a very fruity fruit. It works better as a tomato than a fruit, in my opinion. So I like to put some sliced papaya in there too, but it's optional. I eat the salad till about here. When I'm at the 1/4 level of salad, I put the hot taco beef on it and I mix it up. And the lettuce gets a little wilted and it just tastes like, I don't know, it's a taco bowl. It's so good. It's so good. Like if the phone rings, I'm not answering it. Don't call me while I'm eating my taco bowl. That's how I use it. But you could also just take the beef as it is and mix it with a little mashed plantain, or put it on a sweet potato with the queso sauce. Yeah, you could make a taco with it. There's a lot you could do with it, but that's what I do with it. Anyway, hope you guys like the recipe. Let me know in the comments below if you make it, how you liked it, if you added any additions to it. Also, if you want exclusive AIP 100% elimination phase compliant recipes, check me out on Patreon. I put out a new one every single month, and if you're a $2 and up patron, you have access to those and all other back recipes. So there's a link below to that, as well as my cookbook with my top 20 favorite AIP recipes of all time. I will see you soon. Until then, be healthy.